Hi friends, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to our Read Aloud for today. Today we're going to continue hitting our learning targets that say I can analyze the characters of a text. I know you've heard these learning targets a lot, and that's something that we're going to continue to practice over and over throughout this whole unit. And a unit lasts for 3 weeks. So we're really training our brains as readers to understand for this unit what characters are, what a setting is, and how to look at those to help us become better readers while we visualize it in our brains. So we're also going to name the setting of our story. Yesterday we read the story of there was an old lady who swallowed a bat. Today we're going to read the story Froggy Picks a Pumpkin. So we're reading stories that have fall as kind of a theme. In each of these stories, I want you to really think about the characters, who they are, what are they doing, and where are they? Why are they going there? Okay, so as readers, we should always be asking ourselves some questions. This story is written by Jonathan London and illustrated by Frank R. Froggy Picks a Pumpkin. We have a different picture clue on this page with our title. And then here's our title page. Froggy Picks a Pumpkin. And this page has our author and illustrator on it again, and then a different picture clue than the front cover. So we've had 3 pictures already before starting the actual book to give us a clue about what we might see in our story. Looks like there's going to be lots of characters. The sign that this farmer's holding says, "Welcome, pickers." And here's where our story begins. At school, Froggy read a poster. "Don't forget, trip to the pumpkin patch tomorrow. Pumpkin picking contest." Look at his face. Does he look sad about that or excited? He looks pretty excited. Next morning, Froggy woke up and looked out the window. A beautiful pumpkin moon was setting and colorful leaves were falling. You can see that looking closely at that window. "Leaves! Leaves!" cried Froggy. "I want to go out and play in the..." Oops! He fell out of bed. Thump! There's that onomatopoeia word. It's a sound word. "Froggy!" called his mother. "What?" "Stop jumping off the bed, dear. Today is your field trip." "Oh, yeah," cried Froggy. "It's time to pick a pumpkin." Where do you think the setting is right now? He's in his PJs still. Probably at Froggy's house. He hopped up and got dressed. Zip, zoop, zup, zut, zut, zap. Look at him getting dressed over here. And flopped into the kitchen. Flop, 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 singing, "Pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins and pie. Pumpkin faces lighting the sky." He ate his breakfast of cereal and flies. Munch, crunch, munch, and imagined a steaming pumpkin pie. Yum! And a whole line of jack-o'-lanterns outside lighting the night sky. What do we call this right here? His thinking bubble. So it shows us Froggy as a character, what he's thinking about right now. And we see the setting is different than where he actually is. It looks like he's thinking about a pumpkin patch of jack-o'-lantern. On the school bus, Froggy bounced in his seat. Boing, a boing, a boing, and led all of his friends singing, "Pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins and pie, pumpkin faces lighting the sky." Look at all those other characters. Look at the expressions on their faces. Do they all look excited to go to the pumpkin patch too, or do they look sad and mad about it? Looks like they're all smiling. We know that when we smile, we're happy. So they must be happy too. When they got to the pumpkin patch, he jumped off the bus, flop, 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 and sang, I'm going to pick a pumpkin, I'm going to pick a pumpkin. Froggy, called his teacher, Miss Witherspoon. What? Wait, dear, we're going to have a pumpkin picking contest for the biggest, smallest, prettiest, ugliest, and best all-around pumpkin. Who do you think his teacher is looking at this picture? Looks like this is probably his teacher yelling out the bus. Yippee! Cried Froggy, and he took off again. Flop, 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 and tripped over a pumpkin. Flew through the air and knocked into another pumpkin. Bonk! Max bounced over 3 small pumpkins and tried to pick up a huge one. It didn't budge. Ugh! They're not having much luck. So we just got introduced to another character's name in this story. What's the name that we just heard? Max. So we know that this character is Max. Travis said, step aside, and lifted it up. So who's Travis? This character right here, the bear. Good. Matthew zigzagged around Max, Travis, and Froggy and picked up the prettiest pumpkin in the world. It was shiny and perfect and just the right size. So who's Matthew? If it says he zipped around those other friends. This character right here. Frogalina twirled and danced through the pumpkin patch, then squatted down and said, hello, my sweet, and picked up a very small, very dark orange pumpkin and kissed it. Smooch! Froggy hopped up on a gigantic pumpkin and looked all around, like a pirate on the bow of a ship, and shouted, ahoy there! And he leapfrogged over Frogalina. He leapfrogged over Max. He leapfrogged over Matthew. Flop, flop, splat, and fell smack across a really big pumpkin. So we know this is Frogalina, this is Max, and this is Matthew. So we have 4 characters that we've learned, plus 1 more. He stood up and said, this is the one, and he tried to pick it up. He got it up to his knees. He got it up to his chest. Yes! Then he trudged along with this huge pumpkin. Lug, lug, Froggy, yelled Miss Witherspoon. Oh, what? You're going the wrong way. Oops, said Froggy, and he started huffing. Max yelled, last one in is a rotten egg. Everybody else ran with their pumpkins, and Travis rolled his big one, rumble, rumble, rumble. When Froggy finally got there, he was too pooped to pop, and tripped and smashed his pumpkin. Smoosh! So when it says he was too pooped to pop, that means that he was too tired to carry his pumpkin around. And then he ended up dropping it, and it smushed all over. Look at that. Now we know what the inside of the pumpkin looks like. Oops, cried Froggy, looking more red in the face than green. What do you think that means? Why do you think his face is red? He probably feels a little embarrassed that he dropped his pumpkin. Everybody laughed, even Miss Witherspoon. Then she said, and now for the winners of the pumpkin picking contest. For the biggest, Travis. For the smallest, Max. Max lifted his hat, and there, atop his head, was a pumpkin the size of a golf ball. Look how silly. Very, very small. Big difference between those 2 pumpkins. For prettiest, Matthew. And for the best, all around, Frogalina. Here's a pie pumpkin. for baking, Frogolina said. Hello, my sweet, and kissed it. Smooch. Then Miss Witherspoon said, and for the ugliest. Yours, Froggy. What a mess. And everybody cheered. Hip, hip, hooray! Even Froggy. And on the bus ride home, Froggy sang, pumpkins, pumpkins, muffins, and pie. Pumpkin faces lighting the sky. And all of his friends sang with him. Look at Froggy right here on the bus. Does he have a smushed pumpkin with him? No. And did Froggy cry when he smushed his pumpkin? No. How can we infer or guess they problem solved his smushed pumpkin situation? Looks like maybe they let him pick another one, or maybe someone gave them their pumpkin. So this story had two settings, actually three. At the very, very beginning of the story, Froggy saw a poster about the pumpkin patch. Where was he when he read this poster? He was at school. We can infer or guess that it was during the day because we don't go to school at nighttime, right? So that's when and where that part of the story takes place. And then where is Froggy after that? He's at home. Is he at home in the morning or afternoon or evening? We know it's in the morning time because he's in his PJs, right? And the sun's coming up and he's eating breakfast and getting dressed for the day and thinking about what his day's gonna look like. And then they get on the bus and they go where? To the pumpkin patch. Where are pumpkin patches? Are they on playgrounds? No, they're at the farm, right? So the setting changes throughout the story. And we can visualize that in our brains as the story takes place. Give me 2 thumbs up if you enjoyed that story. You guys did an excellent job. We will read our next story tomorrow, talking about the characters and setting, and continue visualizing what we are reading. Great job today, friends. I will see you tomorrow for our Read Aloud.